Good morning. Welcome to Unity Church-Unitarian. Welcome to those of you here in person and those of you joining us online. I'm Reverend Laura Cowton. I'm Unity's Minister of Congregational Care, and I bid you all welcome as we gather to celebrate and remember the life of Blake Davis. We come together to mourn, to celebrate, and to say goodbye. Following our service, you're invited to join family and friends in the parish hall here for a reception. But for now, let us set aside the outside world and join together in purpose in this time and place where sorrow, joy, memory, and hope join to create a living memory of Blake, whose presence in this life brought spirit and sustenance to so many. Today, we join in the ancient tradition of celebrating a life well lived, in song and in story, that it may be a gift and a source of sustenance for those who live to remember. We are mindful that many faith traditions inform our individual journeys, and we hold in gratitude the foundations of love and service that many traditions hold in common. And I'm going to pause because I hear some high-pitched feedback, and I'm wondering if that is troublesome for some. together. Our Unitarian Universalist tradition, to mark a time as holy and sacred, we light a chalice which transforms wax into pure light and warmth. It is a symbol for us of the light of truth, the warmth of love, and the fire of commitment, a flame that transforms the stuff of this world into the love and activity of our daily lives. May our celebration of Blake's life today bring forth transformation in all of us, from grief, healing, from memory, wholeness, and from celebration, love. In the presence of death, we say yes to life. Will you rise with me in body or in spirit and join in singing hymn number 21, For the Beauty of the Earth? do not have to be good. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the wild geese, high in the clean blue air, are heading home again. Thank you. Please be seated. Blake Shumway Davis has died, and the lives of those who knew him and loved him have been irreparably changed. But let us not forget an equally powerful truth. Blake Davis has lived, and his has been lost that will not be returned to us except through stories, memories, dreams, and imagination. But it is through sharing these stories that part of Blake is restored to us and continues to be with us. And so by this simple act of what we do today, we begin the slow work of changing our relationship to him as he becomes an ancestor. Although we do not claim to know what happens to us after we die, we do know that death comes to us all. And this fact is what awakens us to the awareness that our lives are finite and numbered and precious. And we also know that each of us will, at some point in our life, face grief There's no one way to grieve. Every grief is different. It's not a straight path. It doesn't always make sense. It shows up unbidden when we least expect it. But grief knows its own time and its own rhythm. So let us welcome the work of it. Do not judge yourselves or those around you for how you grieve, how you express it. We each have our own path. And today, we gather at this well to hold each other and this family in the midst of their loss, and to be reminded that life is indeed a precious and fragile gift. I invite you to share a moment of silence with me now, a balm for the wounded and weary, a place for prayer, a place for our spirits and memories to arise. Remember Me by Margaret Mead. To the living, I am gone. To the sorrowful, I will never return. To the angry, I was cheated. But to the happy, I am at peace. To the faithful, I've never left. I cannot speak, but I can listen. I cannot be seen, but I can be heard. So as you stand upon a shore gazing at a beautiful sea, as you look upon a flower and admire its simplicity, remember me. Remember me in your heart, your thoughts, your memories of the times we loved, the the times we cried, the times we fought, the times we laughed. For if you always think of me, I will never have gone. Remember me. Each life is like a multifaceted jewel which holds and reflects many different stories. Unity Church-Unitarian has a tradition of offering what we call a collage of voices. It's a collection of memories shared by some who knew Blake, which illuminate the many facets of his rich and diverse life. And through these stories, through these individual glimpses, the spirit of Blake's life will always remain. And so we begin with a remembrance from Katie Anderson. Blake was one of the most kind, considerate, and humble people I have ever known. Always doing something for the other guy. We were at each other's weddings in the summer of 1967, and Blake was always fun to be with and willing to take on anything. When my husband was ill and I wanted to travel a bit, Blake would come and stay with him. And when I was getting ready for a knee replacement surgery, Blake loved to come and help me out and walk my dog. He did like to walk, and he loved dogs. I have many, many fond memories of our time together. And from Linda Kenning. Blake Davis was the true exemplification of a father, in my mind. I witnessed over the years his always proud, loving, and unconditional support of his family. My memory of him will always be of his smile and laughing, deep chuckles. He always seemed to be smiling and ready for a laugh. And in addition to his family, he cared deeply about his community, always willing to help others. Blake Davis was a truly genuine, good person. From Joe Prouse. Blake Davis can be described as a model citizen whose contributions to society, business, family, and friends was significant. I knew him for over 50 years, and I know my life was enhanced as a result of that connection. We were connected by our mutual work at Camp Widgewagon in northern Minnesota. Blake served as chairman of the board of directors at one time long ago, and in the 1980s, a group of 6 of us organized the Widgie Guides Emeritus Group to travel by canoe on subarctic and Arctic whitewater rivers. We did a trip every 5 years over a period of 28 years. Blake was a strong man and a good paddler, a great paddler, and determined to carry his load, if not more. His knees, however, became fragile over time, and on the later trips, we insisted he refrain from some of the physical tasks to protect his legs. He accepted reluctantly, but was a good sport about it as well. And it was on those trips that I came to appreciate how stoic Blake was when he described knee replacement surgery and recovery as no big thing. He had 3 of them, when the second felt better than the first, so he replaced the first. Of greatest importance, Blake was a strong and committed family man. He loved and respected Sandy, and together they raised 2 wonderful children, who in return produced those 3 grandchildren that were the pride of Blake's life. He has left a substantial legacy. From Amy Davis. I had a nurse tell me it would be easier if he were not such a good dad. I think she was trying to console me, but right away I said, no way. I will take these difficult times any day over not having been able to spend all the wonderful and amazing times with him, my mom and brother. Canoeing, camping, biking, hiking, walking the dog, talking, working, skiing, traveling, playing games. The list goes on and keeps going. I miss you, Dad. From Anne Hobby. The loss is commensurate with the love, it seems. You are among the very fortunate Best Dad Ever Club. And from Axel Schwartz. My enduring memory of your father is every time I saw him, he had a huge smile on his face. Like he'd figured out something about life that the rest of us were still trying to find. And from Blake Davis, the junior, Rusty. My dad was a wonderful, kind, thoughtful, caring, giving, funny, loyal, and loving man. I appreciate all that he did and gave to me. First and foremost, his love for his wife and children. Tony took many opportunities to personally thank him for this incredible example set for me. Second, his dedication and work ethic to provide and be successful for his family. Third, his level way of thinking. I always appreciated his mind and the way it worked. Dad, I miss you every day and will always carry you in my heart. From Cynthia Mills. Back in the late 70s, Joe and I were ready to buy our first home. Blake offered to take a look at the duplex and give us his thoughts on it. And as 20-somethings, Joe and I knew next to nothing about home ownership, much less what to expect of a house built in 1913. We gratefully accepted this offer, and Blake definitely had a no-nonsense approach to evaluation. I distinctly remember that there was much discussion about the importance of a good foundation. Sound advice for houses, sound advice for living. From Tom Patterson. Sally and I have known Blake almost all of our lives, and I think we first met as Sunday school pupils here at Unity. As adults, much of our friendship revolved around Camp Widgewagon, the YMCA's Boundary Waters Camp, and the wilderness canoe trips that we took together. In addition, my wife Sally and Blake were first cousins, and as members of the close-knit Davis family, good friends. Over a period of 30 or so years, we took many wilderness canoe trips together, usually with Sally and Sandy and some close friends and a child or two. I think I've spent a total of over 6 months on wilderness trips with Blake. And as the Widgewagon and canoeing folk here today know, you get very close to and dependent upon your companions on trips like those. Strength of character is essential in creating a cohesive trail group, and he always did more than his share of the work. He deflected praise. He didn't have a mean bone in his body. He was a gentleman and a gentle man. He was also a ton of fun. Right now, I can hear in my mind his delighted cackle over a joke or an unexpected development. Over the years, I've heard several suggested translations of the word Widjiwagan, an Ojibwe or Anishinaabe word. The one that appeals to me most is the translation, traveling companion. Blake was the ideal traveling companion, not only on canoe trips, but in all of life.
So y'all, I've been invited to sing a song that is a favorite of Blake's, and also many of you who spent time with him. I'm thinking you'll recognize this song by Bill Staines, and it's a river, the river. So please sing along, 'cause we want to bring that spirit to the room. I was born in the path of the winter wind. I was raised where the mountains are old. Their springtime waters came dancing down, and I remember the tales they told. The whistling ways of my younger days too quickly have faded on by. But all of their memories linger on like the light of a fading sky. River, take me along in your sunshine. Sing me your song, ever moving and winding and free. You rolling old river, you changing old river. Let's you and me, river, run down to the sea. I've been to the city and back again. I've been moved by some things that I've learned. Met a lot of good people and I've called them friends. Felt a change when the seasons turned. I've heard all the songs that the children sing and listened to love's melody. I've felt my own music within me rise like the wind in the autumn trees. River, take me along in your sunshine. Sing me your song, ever moving and winding and free. You rolling old river, you changing old river. Let's you and me, river, run down to the sea. Someday when the flowers are blooming still, someday when the grass is still green, my rolling waters will round the bend and flow into the open sea. So here's to the rainbow that followed me here, and here's to the friends that I've known. And here's to the song that's within me now. I will sing it wherever I go. River, take me along in your sunshine. Sing me your song, ever moving and winding abandon and free. You roll an old river, you change an old river. Let's you and me, river, run down to the sea.
Blake Shumway Davis was born on June 17th, 1940, and died on December 4th, 2023. And in between, he lived life to its fullest. We've heard how Blake was a successful and trusted businessman, respected. He was a good-natured father of the year, year after year. A solid friend and backcountry adventurer. And from what Sandy has told me, their marriage was a true love story. He was gentle, kind, patient, honest, and even-tempered. It's not that Blake was perfect. He was as human as anyone with flaws and shortcomings, but maybe fewer than most. What made him so unique seems to have been his outlook on life. He simply chose to enjoy it, to invite love in and to share it wholeheartedly and generously back to the world. Blake made time for people and places and experiences that mattered to him the most, and brought an air of joy and playfulness to his days that touched those around him. This outlook was part of a family trait, I imagine, but it was also honed over decades at his dear Camp Widjiwagan, valuing friendships and nature and teamwork and hard work. Canoeing and camping and not letting a bit of bad weather or dirt get in the way of your priorities or your relationships. He appreciated the value of community, sitting around a campfire to tell stories and laugh, his unique and infectious laugh, to sing and dance at any opportunity, and to help one another whenever there was a need to. He volunteered his time and his talent and his treasure in many ways, serving on many boards. He helped out with Meals on Wheels and the JCs, and through Rotary, he helped to get dictionaries one year to each third grader in St. Paul, with the goal to empower young people to make positive change. Blake advocated for composting before that was a thing, and environmental causes his whole life. He left for work at 6 in the morning, and he made it back at 6 in time to play with his children or grandchildren and enjoy a family dinner. Blake came from a family with many valued traditions. His grandfather started the real estate firm Davis and Lagerman in 1907. His father, Chandler Davis, followed in that footstep, as did Blake, and now Amy Davis works there at the same firm. That's 5 generations upholding a highly respected tradition of excellence and integrity in St. Paul real estate. There's one tradition that Rusty shared with me that goes beyond family business. He calls it the Rule of 31. This story also spans 5 generations, so far. Apparently, so the story goes, as Rusty and Tony were getting married, Blake realized that his own grandfather, Edward, his father, Chandler, himself, and his son, Rusty, who is also called Blake, but let's not confuse this story further, were all married 31 years apart. Interesting. That made him look further into this number 31, because, Then he realized that all of them had had their first boy born 31 years apart. Amazing. So even crazier, Blake, Rusty, and Nick are all born in June. Now, obviously, they all graduated from college 31 years apart, too. The three most senior Davis men went to Harvard, and Rusty is somewhat apologetic about having broken that mold. Now, Nick. You have a little pressure. Some things for your calendar. Get married in the year 2028 and have your first boy in 2023. I mean, not that it matters. Yeah. Laughter is such a part of Blake's legacy. This is a family that knows how to play together. Blake's folks and the Davis family had a tree farm up by Sandstone that was the site of many picnics and big family dinners. One special tradition was the annual selection and chopping of Christmas trees to decorate this sanctuary here at Unity Church for the holidays and for the pageant. Blake loved the pageant. It was one of his favorite things. And Amy and Rusty had both been part of the pageant as they were raised in this church, as Blake was as well. And many of Blake's cousins and families are also members of this community, so you get why the pageant is important. This community, another family tradition. While in memory care with dementia in his last days, Blake still wanted to get to Unity's pageant. He loved music and singing, and in his care facility, a harp was playing once, and he got all the residents and the staff up dancing, sharing his joy so freely with others. And throughout this time of his illness, sparks of Blake's true self just kept peeking through his illness, and that inner sense of joy that he exuded for people, that love of life, never left him. The writer Maya Angelou said that people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did. But people will never forget how you made them feel. We've shared a lot of memories about Blake in words and in deeds, and these details may get fuzzy over time or storified. But how he made people feel, this will never be forgotten. Thank you, Blake Davis, for having shared your beautiful spirit with the world.
So everyone, if you would be willing to get out the blue book here and turn to 1064. We're going to sing together Peter Mayer's Blue Boat Home. Yeah. Though below me I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean, still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. Sun, my sail, and moon, my rudder, as I ply the starry sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep. I'm drafting on with my ship's companions, all we can, dread pilgrim souls, making our way by the light of the heavens in our beautiful blue boat home. I give thanks to the waves upholding me, hail the great winds urging me on, greet the infinite sea before me, sing the sky my sailor's song. I was born upon the fathoms, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home.
No person can sum up the life of another. Life is too precious to be passed over with mere words which ring empty. Rather, it must remain, and it does remain, to those who have loved and watched and shared, to be remembered. And as living memories, you and I, we possess the greatest gift that one person can give to one another. It is to each of you, then, that the living memories of Blake Davis's life are committed. To your hearts and minds go the enduring remembrances of this one very precious life. This we know. All life is a gift. Blake Davis's life was a gift. His love of nature, life, and adventure inspired that love in others. His unique expression of those gifts will be missed, and you can honor Blake's memory best by your own expression of his rich legacy. In the days ahead, in his honor, and in gratitude for the time left in your own precious life, bring joy and laughter to your days. Seek out opportunities to help and serve in your community. Be kind, thoughtful, generous. Smile a lot. Embrace the outdoors and tend to nature's own need for care. Pause in the midst of any day and take time for dinner with your family. Play with the children and walk the dogs. Blake, those who love you and mourn you will know you always in the sun and the rain, the new green shoots of spring, the richness and abundance of summer, the brilliant colors of autumn, and the quiet inward pull of winter. Though we extinguish the flame of our chalice today, we know that the spark of life is still burning within each one of us, and we know that the light of Blake's life will always shine within our hearts. In the spirit of love, we have gathered. In the spirit of love, we depart. Gentle people, go in peace.